Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Reading with Ayo. My name is Ayo Lawrence. Today, I have a great guest with us today. Um, David is one of the best leaders I've known in our organizations when we used to work together. Although we didn't work together that much, but I usually admire him from afar because of the way he did things. So, and recently, he's been doing great things. He retired and he started using his voice on LinkedIn. And, before he started that, even within our organization, he started a group. And I want him to talk about it, but I just want to say, man, I really admire David. But David, how you doing? How's everything?
Thanks, Ayo. I'm doing really well. So I think I'm settling in well to retirement. I'm getting into the flow of trying to actually write more. So becoming a writer. So transitioning from being an engineer, being a leader, being a manager in corporate America to being a writer and artist. It's definitely a shift. But I think I'm transitioning pretty well. And one of my goals, which we can talk about, is to write about my experiences in corporate America. And I'm doing that as you know, on LinkedIn right now in the form of articles. But I'm also well on my way to writing my first book about being an introvert in corporate America. And so I'm excited about that as well. And I'm basing a lot of that on what I've written historically and put in these articles. But things are going well, and I'm excited.
Man, that's great. That's great. Before you retired in our organization, you started talking about quiet leadership, right? Being the voice for introverts. And, when you started writing, when you started the group, for me as an extrovert, I wanted to understand what it means to be an introvert in corporate America. So I started following the group and I just started learning a lot because one of the things for me is I'm a serial learner. I like to learn about stuff. I like to read and learn about. So, some of the posts you did, some of the articles you shared during that time really helped me. And I started following you and I started following your journey, but before we started today, I actually went on your LinkedIn page and I saw inclusion and belonging leader. I've always seen diversity and inclusion and equity leader, but I've never seen inclusion and belonging leader. Why is that important to you?
Well, so I wrote an article called Beyond Diversity and Inclusion, Why Belonging is So Important to Introverts in Corporate America. And it has to do with this idea that you can have a diverse group of people, whether it's visible diversity or whether it's experience diversity or whatever dimension of diversity you want to choose, you can bring that group of people together and you can have a genuine desire for them all to contribute, for them all to be included. And you can set that environment up, but you can still have people in that environment that don't feel like they belong. And as a leader, unless you recognize that and you can create the space, the environment for those people to feel like they belong, they're always not going to be contributing to their fullest capabilities, and you're going to miss out on value. And I've been in that position before, where I've been in a meeting specific to being an introvert, where as an introvert, I'm always probably one of the latter people to talk because I'm absorbing information, I'm thinking about things, I'm kind of thinking about listening to what other people are saying, thinking about what I want to say and how I want to formulate my response. So typically it's later in the meeting when I talk, and often I'll have a leader say, well, we haven't heard from David yet. And it's often been framed as, we haven't heard from David because he's quiet, or it's that idea that you're quiet, I need to rescue you and help you so you can talk. And which is a valiant thing to do, right? They want to include you. But the way that a lot of introverts receive that is that, instead of saying, hey, what do you have to say? What we hear is, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you talked? Do you have any value to add? So part of why I wrote the article is there are easy ways to reframe the conversation. So as a leader, instead of saying, hey, we haven't heard from our quiet people yet, which is labeling them and kind of stereotyping them, you say something different like, hey, David, I really value your perspective. When you do, you have great things to offer. I'd love to hear what you think. So that reframes the idea, as opposed to me being somebody that's quiet that may or may not be adding value to somebody that is expected to add value and is going to, because of their intellect and their experiences and what they can contribute. So part of it's about reframing it. And I think in our world today, especially being an introvert, we're often labeled as quiet. We're often labeled as people who are hesitant to contribute, which is really not fair to that group of people.
No, I enjoy that article and that story that you put in there, well, like you said it right now. And I'm not even going to say with the introverts as well. I'm going to say, like, sharing that experiences when you're trying to include women as well and making them belong, because sometimes, it's not just introvert, like women, other minorities, they don't feel it easy to speak up, and the way to include them is by the way you make them feel belonging by asking those questions in a different way or including them in a very more good way. So I love that. That article was great.